Miami, the city of sunshine, flashy cars, and people with more money than sense. You think you've seen it all? Until you watch two adults spend $50,000 fighting over a cat. Not a rare diamond, not a priceless painting. A fluffy cat named Atlas. This isn't just about a pet, it's about obsession and what happens when emotions take the wheel. Meet Isabella, who saw Atlas as her child, and Marco, who saw him as a pawn in their breakup. When their relationship crashed, Atlas became the prize. This wasn't a simple disagreement, it was war. The legal system? It sees animals as property, like a couch or TV. But Isabella saw family, not furniture. She poured her savings into a legal battle most would call insane. $50,000. Gone, all for Atlas. This story isn't just about a cat. It's about control, love, and the wild things people do when their hearts are on the line. In Miami, where everything has a price, Isabella was about to learn the true cost of conviction. She bet everything that a judge would see Atlas as more than property. A risky bet, to say the least. But for Isabella, it was all or nothing. The stage was set for a showdown that would test the limits of love and the law. And it all started with a cat, Atlas. Before the lawyers, there was Isabella and Marco living the Miami dream. They adopted Atlas, a tiny gray kitten who became their world. Together, they raised him, named him, and built a life around him. Atlas was the glue in their little family. Isabella's bond with Atlas was deep. She knew his quirks, his favorite toys, and treated him like her own child. Marco loved him too, but for Isabella, Atlas was everything. Then, the relationship fell apart. The breakup was messy, but what about Atlas? They tried shared custody one week, with each shuttling him back and forth. It was a disaster. The cat was stressed, the humans fought, and every exchange reopened old wounds. The arrangement was a ticking time bomb. Atlas was caught in the middle, and the tension only grew. Something had to give, and it did. The truce shattered when Marco announced he was moving to Bali and taking Atlas. He didn't ask. He told Isabella. For Marco, it was logistics. For Isabella, it was unthinkable. She pleaded, offered money, even gave up other possessions. Marco refused. This was his final power play. But Isabella wouldn't back down. She hired a top Miami lawyer, and the breakup exploded into a legal war. Isabella's team filed an emergency motion. Marco was barred from taking Atlas out of Florida. Furious, Marco lawyered up. The battle lines were drawn. Letters, accusations, depositions. Atlas's life became Exhibit A in a case that would drag on for 2 years. The absurdity was just beginning. What started as a breakup was now a high-stakes legal fight. Atlas, once a symbol of love, was now the center of a costly war. Neither side would give in. The fight for Atlas had only just begun, and the stakes kept rising, all for a cat. The legal fight was grueling. For 2 years, Isabella's life was court dates and mounting bills. Friends asked, why spend a fortune on a cat? For Isabella, it was family. The law saw Atlas as property. Marco's lawyers argued he had equal rights. Isabella's team pushed for something new. Treat Atlas like family, not furniture. They argued for the cat's best interest, a standard for children almost unheard of for pets. They said Atlas wasn't a toaster. He was a sentient being with bonds and routines. The emotional toll was immense. Isabella was grilled, her life dissected. She lost sleep, weight, and nearly her hope. But every time she saw Atlas, she knew she couldn't give up. The fight consumed her, but her resolve never wavered. She was determined to see it through. For Isabella, this was about more than winning. It was about proving that love, real, messy, human love, matters, even in court. The final showdown, one day, one judge, one decision. Isabella's team brought evidence, vet bills, receipts, affidavits, and an animal behaviorist. The expert testified separating Atlas from Isabella would harm him. Isabella spoke from the heart, sharing memories and proof of her bond. She showed photos, texts, everything to prove Atlas was her family. The judge listened, weighed the evidence, and made a surprising decision. He ruled in Isabella's favor. She was granted sole custody of Atlas. Atlas was home. Relief washed over Isabella. 2 years, $50,000, and it was all worth it. The war was over. Atlas was safe. Love had won.